This story takes place in a small village where stood an old, deserted house known as the Haunted Mansion. This mansion had been deserted for many years, and many scary and strange events were heard about it. Everyone believed that the mansion was haunted by a spirit that would capture someone every night. But one day, a young man named Luke decided to spend the night in this mansion to know the mystery and prove his courage. Will he be able to face the mysterious spirit in the dark with his courage? Or will he also become like the people who got lost in this mansion? Luke was an adventurous young man who lived in New York with his parents. He was always interested in mysterious events, and he loved to experience something unique by visiting new places. This time he went on a trip to a small village with his friend Sarah and some friends. By listening to the villagers, he came to know that there is an old mansion a few kilometers away from the village, which is called Haunted Mansion. People used to say that strange events happen there at night, and no one stays in that mansion at night. Luke heard all this and immediately decided that he would spend the night in this mansion. Sarah and the rest of the friends tried to stop him, but Luke was not going to change his mind. He wanted an adventure, and spending the night in this haunted mansion seemed like a golden opportunity to him. He walked towards the mansion alone in the evening, and his friends started monitoring him from a distance. Luke did not face much difficulty in reaching the mansion, but as soon as he reached the mansion, he felt a strange silence. As soon as he reached the mansion, Luke saw that the door of the mansion was open. He thought it would be a joke, but he still stepped inside. As soon as he entered the mansion, Luke felt that the atmosphere inside was very cold. His breath was getting cold, and there was a strange smell in the air. There was mold on the walls and dust on the floor, but despite this, Luke continued his steps. Luke kept walking inside the mansion, and after a while he realized that there was some movement in the mansion. As soon as he entered the room, the light of his torch fell on a blurred figure, who was standing somewhere in the corner. That figure was of a woman, whose face was blurred. Luke asked softly, "Who are you?" But that woman did not answer. Sarah had seen from a distance, but Luke did not know. Suddenly, that figure disappeared. Luke thought that it was a trick of his eyes, but he did not understand that strange events were happening in the mansion. He came out of the room, but then suddenly the doors of the mansion closed. Luke knocked on the door loudly, but the door did not open. He shouted, "Sarah, are you listening?" But no sound came. Luke looked around the room, and suddenly he heard a faint sound. This sound was of someone screaming. Luke shone the torchlight in that direction, but there was no one there. Then the sound came again, and this time it was even closer. Luke felt as if someone was moving towards him. Frightened, he tried to run outside, but every path of the mansion was dark. His breathing was becoming fast, and he could not understand what was happening. Suddenly, a woman's voice was heard. "Why have you come to me?" Luke looked around in shock, but the woman was nowhere to be seen. "Why have you come here?" the voice came again. Luke said, "I just wanted to see what is happening here. Let me go." But there was no mercy in the voice. Gathering all his strength, Luke stepped towards another room of the mansion. There, he found an old photo in which there was a family. Written below the photo was, "This family lived in this mansion, but one night they mysteriously disappeared." Luke looked at the photo carefully and realized that one of the family members was looking strangely. There was something different in his eyes. Then Luke heard a loud voice, "You all want my place. You all have to become a part of me." Luke ran out of the room in panic, but the voices grew louder behind him. His flashlight had also stopped working, and now he was trapped in the dark. Suddenly, Luke realized that a thick shadow had formed in the room. That shadow was of a man whose face was also blurred. Luke shouted, "Who are you? What do you want?" But the shadow did not answer. It slowly started moving towards Luke. Luke stepped back in fear and said, "What do you want from me?" Then the shadow spoke, "Nothing from you, but you have stepped into my world. Now you cannot go back." Luke said in fear, "Let me go." but the shadow had surrounded him. Luke tried to escape from the shadow with all his strength, but that shadow was continuously moving to catch him. Luke's heart was beating, and fear was clearly visible in his eyes. He now understood that this mansion was shrouded in a deep mystery, and he could not get out of this mystery suddenly. Sarah stepped inside the mansion looking for Luke. She saw Luke standing in a corner, his eyes closed, and he was silent. Sarah quickly picked Luke up and pulled him out of the mansion. As soon as they reached outside, the mansion's door closed automatically. Sarah looked at Luke and said, "Are you okay?" But Luke did not say anything. Fear and panic were clearly visible in his eyes. She noticed that Luke had an old photo, which came from inside the mansion. Sarah saw that photo, and there was a strange movement in her eyes. Vikram now understood that the mansion was not just a place, but a mystery that would never end. He knew that there is someone in the dark who wanted to capture him, and he would not go back there under any circumstances.